Welcome to the Modern Psychedelics podcast. Thank you so much for being here and choosing to spend some time with me today. I'm your host, Lana. This is the place where we explore how modern humans can work with psychedelics and plant medicine to engage more deeply with life. You can expect balanced and grounded conversations around therapeutic, spiritual, and recreational containers. All right, let's journey. Hello and welcome back to the show. I'm really looking forward to today's episodes. I'm going to be talking a little bit about what life has been like after Iboga. It's been more than 6 months now, and I think often we hear about what people's life-changing experience was like, but then we don't actually know what happened after, or how long it lasted, things like that. So I think it's important to do, and I think I'll do these more often, 6-month integration check-ins to give you guys updates about how these experiences that I've been having have actually impacted my life in the long term. So as I said, on the date of recording this, so it's early June, it has been over 6 months since I sat with Iboga, and my life changed. I can honestly say now that this Iboga experience was a definite line in the sand for me. And in today's episode, I'm going to reflect on exactly what has changed for me, how I'm a different person, and how life is just different. Iboga is the medicine where the gifts just keep on coming. The integration process for me was incredibly beautiful, and it lasted a really long time. And the medicine stayed with me for a very long period of time. It's hard to qualify and quantify just how transformational it was, but here are a few of the transformations and gifts that I received from this medicine. I'm going to outline 10 ways that life has changed for me. So, number one is truth and simplicity. So, one message that Iboga teaches people again and again is to simplify. And I have personally simplified so many things in my life, from phone apps and social media platforms to my diet and exercise routine to my mind and the way that I think about things. That's the most important. One thing is I no longer feel the need to have these elaborate morning routines that were actually draining my energy. I was overcomplicating my life in these ways by adding so much in, adding so much extra weight that didn't need to be there. But once I could see the truth from the Iboga medicine and understand the resonance of truth, life became a lot less confusing and easier to navigate. And it not only took out the trash, but it emptied the trash can and gave me a fresh start. And I got to decide what I wanted to put in. So I basically immediately scrubbed my social media accounts that I followed. I unfollowed every new age spirituality account that I was following. One of the other ways that I've simplified my wellness is that I just sleep a lot more now, and I don't feel guilty about it. I think we live in this culture of shame around how much we sleep, but I've realized that sleep actually gives me a lot more than elaborate morning routines, and the pressure is really off to be this wellness superstar that does it all before 7 a.m. And I've been striving and trying to be that for my entire adult life. And that's just done. That's over. It's also a lot easier for me to make decisions and to act on my choices now. So number two is nature. I haven't always loved nature. That's a lie. But I think I've gotten more and more in touch with nature as I've gotten deeper on the path with psychedelics. So that's been a part of my journey for a long time, nature and connection to nature. But Iboga showed me that nature is literally the answer to everything and all of my questions and problems. And I talked about this in my episodes about Iboga. So part of this is because us humans are from nature. We were created from nature. So to allow the laws of nature to guide me is a way to live a very thriving, abundant, and beautiful life. So the more connected I am to nature, the better my life will be. That's how I feel after Iboga, and this is expressing itself in so many different ways. Being more and more in tune with nature is really important to me. So I'm getting outside a lot more. I'm being much more mindful of the foods that I eat, even just like working with medicines in different ways and allowing for more space between the experiences. So number 3, I love this one. I feel like I can just be me. I feel like I can just be myself. I went into Iboga really uncomfortable with myself, especially in regards to my physical appearance. What Iboga taught me is that there's no one else I'm supposed to be and that my life is a gift. I learned through my journey with Iboga that the reason my soul actually separated from me in the first place was because I didn't keep anything between me and my soul. I was outsourcing all of my power to everyone else. I was asking everyone else for their opinions instead of checking in with myself about what my opinion is. I was trying to be like everyone else because I didn't feel like I was good enough. And I'm saying this all in laughter and lightness right now, but while I was actually living in that place, it was not light and it was not easy. But on the other side now, it's just pretty simple. I'm just happy to be who I am and to continue exploring who I am and these like deeper layers of who I am and what I'm about and what gets me excited and following that. And yeah, there's no one else I would rather be than myself. There's no one else I can be other than myself. So yeah, pretty simple, but also very embodied. So number 4 is improved relationships and family relations. So my relationship with my dad was a huge source of stress for me before Iboga. And while I didn't get the healing that I wanted with that within the Iboga retreat, it was about a month after when I was still really deep in the Iboga medicine. I was at home one night, chilling. I smoked a little bit of cannabis. I was making a dinner, had music playing, totally relaxed, out of the mind. And all of a sudden I healed my daddy issues. It was crazy. And I just had this realization. I had this vision in the Iboga ceremony of my dad and I didn't really understand it. And then in this moment, when I was just out of the mind, I understood what that vision meant. And from that understanding, I actually understood that the root of my problems with my dad was that we're never able to see eye to eye, and that I'm basically treating him the way I don't want him to treat me. So I judge him so much for the way that he lives and the decisions that he makes and how he chooses to live his life. But that's exactly what I don't want him to do to me. But he does that to me. So it just made no sense. And I realized that the healing isn't actually just loving him and accepting him as who he is. And this is still something I have to continue to practice and do, but at least I got the healing that I wanted. And yeah, there's a lot more I could share on that, but some of it's pretty personal. The key here is that about a month after this Iboga experience, I got an even deeper level of insight into my problems with my dad. And right now, my relationship with my family, especially my father, is completely different. It's just a lot more peaceful. We don't argue anymore. I'm learning just to accept him the same way that I want him to accept me. So yeah, it's huge. And family is also one of the most important things to me in my life right now. And that definitely wasn't the case before Iboga. And I'm just really thinking about taking care of my family, building my own family one day and taking care of my own family one day. One way that this integrated was I was doing my childhood photo albums one night after Iboga. And I was basically taking them out of the old albums and putting them into this new beautiful big one. And it was a way to really honor my childhood and to honor myself by putting these photos in this beautiful big album and showcasing them in a nice way. And this was a really emotional and intense experience for me. I felt like I was seeing these photos of myself for the very first time. I felt like I was seeing myself as a child for the very first time. And yeah, it was really beautiful. Something definitely shifted within me after Iboga in the way that I relate to my childhood, my family, and my inner child. And that area of my life is just a lot more peaceful now. So number 5 is clarity. So Iboga is a hunter's medicine. In Africa, Iboga is used in smaller microdoses on hunts. It makes your hearing and your vision a lot sharper. So in Bwiti, the cultural tradition that kind of underpins the Iboga medicine, they say that the two most important things in life are knowing who you are and knowing what you want in life. So knowing who you are and knowing what you want in life. Iboga really helped me to see who I am and what I am not. And because of that, it's been a lot easier to focus on what I really want rather than what I'm supposed to want. And I'm at peace knowing that I'm taking steps every day to create the life that I want for myself. I know that I'm like on the hunt for what I want in life. And there's, again, a lot of peace around it. Like, I don't feel rushed. I feel really confident in myself. I feel really confident in the steps that I'm taking every day and the life that I'm building. And I've really been able to release this like pressure to have it all figured out and to have it all here now. I know that, you know, the beauty is in the journey, but the clarity piece, like I wouldn't even be able to be taking these steps with such confidence if I didn't have the clarity around what those steps were. I think when we are like confused or when we are maybe doing something we think we should be doing or doing something for reasons that aren't like really aligned with who we are, it can be really hard to take action on those things. I see this a lot with coaching clients and in the coaching container, just like getting really clear on like, where is this desire to take this action coming from? Yeah, the clarity has been really beautiful. So here's my not so secret. The number one tool in my toolkit, the thing that has changed my life for the better the most, aside from psychedelics, of course, is not therapy. It's not breath work. It's not meditation. It's not even the yoga I've been doing for 15 years. It's coaching. Because coaching is the most actionable tool that I have come across. A few years ago, I fired my therapist and hired a coach, and working with a coach helped me start moving in the direction I wanted to move. And I finally stopped feeling stuck. I fell so in love with coaching, even though I wanted to become a therapist at that time. I decided instead to get trained and certified as a professional coach. As a psychedelics-informed life coach, I work with people who are on the psychedelic path, which is probably you if you're listening to this podcast. The Global Coaching Client Study from the International Coaching Federation shows most clients who work with a professional coach report improved work performance, more growth and opportunities, greater self-confidence, enhanced relationships, more effective communication skills, better work and life balance, and an improvement in wellness. According to the same study, 99% of people who were polled said that they were somewhat or very satisfied with the overall coaching experience. Coaching works. I see similar results amongst my clients every week. You can actually read their beautiful in-depth testimonials on my website at modernpsychedelics.net. Along with being psychedelics informed, my style is process oriented. We live in this outcome obsessed world where our default mode is to live life for the destination or the end result. But I have come to understand that the gifts are actually in the journey, and that's where we grow and learn and enjoy life the most. So that's why I equip my clients with tools and skills for the long game of life and the long game of medicine work. I'm currently onboarding new one-on-one clients into my coaching practice. So if this sounds like it would be supportive for where you're at, get in touch with me. I would love to hear from you. And you can click on the link in the show notes or head to modernpsychedelics.net/coaching. There's lots of info there for you along with those testimonials. I can't wait to connect with you. That's modernpsychedelics.net/coaching. Okay, let's go back to the episode. Number 6, I feel like my spiritual seeking has gone down a lot. I used to be a seeker and now I'm a seer. So I dropped the K from seeking. I think Iboga really simplified my spiritual journey. I feel like I used to be this like spiritual mutt. I was just like literally a mutt, like a dog, like just like if you can imagine like a mutt, like dog on the street, like just like looking for food and like looking everywhere and like just like confused and like not knowing, like that's literally who I was with my spirituality, just searching for answers everywhere outside of myself, trying to ascend out of this reality. When now we know how much I like love being here on Earth and how much I love Earth, I've really embodied and taken on a lot of the Bwiti teachings that were taught to me during the retreat. And the Bwiti tradition is really experiential. It's experimental. We're taught not to take things that we read or hear at face value, but to confirm things for ourselves. So I now know that there are many things in the spiritual realm that I, as a human being on Earth, am not supposed to know. I'm simply not supposed to know what happens after death, nor will I ever know what happens after death. It's literally impossible to know what happens after death. Sure, we can speculate and theorize and what are they called? When people almost die? Near-death experiences. Yeah, all those near-death experience reports, like maybe, but how can we actually ever really know until we can confirm that for ourselves? So that's like one example to one of those big spiritual questions that I think if I kept going down the path I was going down, I would have gotten completely lost and absorbed in that. And now I'm just like, I'm not supposed to know that. I'm never supposed to know that. It's okay to sit with the unknowing, but I do know that I'm here on this planet having this experience as a human being right now with all of my senses. And I know that for a fact, and I know that I want to enjoy this experience. So yeah, my spiritual seeking is just like really chilled out a lot. I'm just like wanting to be a human, right? It's not that I don't believe in spirit. I absolutely do. And I'm highly driven and motivated by spirit. It's just, I'm not so lost in it anymore. Number 7, I'm ready for love. Like, I'm so ready. For the first time in 4 years, my heart is like open to falling in love again and open to partnership with someone. I really know my worth now. Like, I know my worth. I know what I have to offer. I know what I want. And that's the most important thing. I know what I want in a partner. And I'm no longer willing to contort myself or sell myself short in order to be with someone just because, you know, they're going to raise my self-worth. This is a pattern that I used to have in past, not even romantic relationships, like in friendships too. I literally used to surround myself with people because they elevated my self-worth and to feel complete in some way. And I'm not seeking that anymore. Like, I feel complete in myself. I feel complete in my soul. I feel connected with my soul. I love and appreciate life so much, and I just want to share it with someone else. So something that actually happened after Iboga, I ran into my ex for the first time after 3 years of no contact. And we had an amazing, beautiful conversation where I got a lot of closure, and like, fucking of course this happened right after Iboga. But I think like since I was so attuned to truth in that moment, I was able to hear his truth from him for the first fucking time. That was like beautiful because it allowed me the opportunity to change the story. So I was able to change the story from I wasn't lovable and this person didn't love me to something that was actually more true. And that was like incredibly healing. And now as a result, it's becoming very clear to me that the next step, the next like school for me, the next phase of my evolution is in romantic relationship. I feel like I've taken myself very far on my own and I'm ready to grow with someone else now and just go really deep in love with someone. Number 8, decreased mental clutter and more presence. Decreased mental clutter and more presence. So my relationship with my mind has changed for the better. There's a lot more peace and spaciousness, and I can relate to my thoughts as thoughts. not the truth. So in Bwiti, we confirm truth through our six senses. Thinking thoughts is not a sense. Thoughts are not a sense. Thoughts are not real. So I know that the mind is a tool for me to use, but it's not my master. And I'm noticing that I can more easily see thoughts as this, like, they just don't have as much power over me anymore. Whereas, oh my gosh, like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I was completely convinced that if I had a thought, it was true. And if I had a thought that created a feeling within me, that it was true. But in Bwiti, we're taught that we confirm truth through at least 3 of our 6 senses. So having a feeling or a sense about something is not enough to confirm it as true. So that's something that's really helped me to just like ground down into reality. The voice in my head has changed. I'm a lot kinder to myself. I feel like that voice that used to never shut the fuck up is gone. There's not like agony in my mind anymore. So yeah, it's all good up there. I feel like really mentally the best I've ever felt, which is the whole reason why I embarked on this journey with plant medicine, was to address my mental health. And I can honestly say, like, my mental health is incredible now, as someone who used to really struggle with anxiety and depression. Number 9, happiness. I would say like happiness and peace. So, because sometimes even when you're not happy, you can still be at peace with not being happy. It's something that I'm learning right now, but I'm just the happiest I've ever been right now. I'm just like embracing all of life's experiences, even the ones that, you know, are more challenging. They just, I don't know, they just don't feel as challenging anymore. And it's funny, I think this kind of ties into the simplification point that I made earlier, but a lot of the things that I spent my entire life thinking would make me happy have fallen away, and I realized that isn't the key to my happiness. And I'm really learning to find joy in everyday life and to enjoy every moment and to like simply just enjoy being alive. Do I sound like I'm like on LSD or something right now? Because I'm not. I swear I'm not. This is just my life now. Like, I'm actually just so stoked about waking up in the morning and living another day. I don't know. Is that what happiness is? Like, is that what happiness is? I don't know. But all I know is that I'm just like happy to be alive on such a beautiful planet. And I just look for every opportunity to find gratitude. I think ayahuasca showed me like inner peace is the most important thing in your life, and nothing should like take you away from that. It was like I knew that, but I didn't have the tools from ayahuasca to actually live that. And I think the Bwiti way really helped me implement that. So the last thing I want to touch on, there's so much more, but intuition. So intuition for me is understanding the frequency of truth. And I have a much greater access to that. I think my friend Victoria, who got me interested in Iboga, said it the best. She said, there is a frequency to truth. And I just understand that now. I understand when something is like not on that frequency and when something is. Iboga is truth serum and it helps you understand that. So I don't spend as much time going back and forth anymore. I'm able to take much more decisive action because I'm not confused and not agonizing over things in my mind. And even during coaching calls with my clients, I feel that I have a much greater access to intuition and into sharing any insights that are coming through for me during our calls with them. That's not at all to say that like in a coaching session, everything that I say is truth. That's not what I'm saying. That's not the way it is. Just that I'm able to really feel into a different level of understanding than I was able to previously. I just feel like I'm not in my way anymore. I think if I had to summarize everything that I just said, I feel like I'm not getting in my way anymore, and I can just live the life I want to live. So yeah, I think that's a great way to summarize it. So there you have it, the 10 things that have changed in my life since Iboga. So if you guys are thinking about this medicine, go back and listen to episode 45 and 49 if you haven't already, or maybe you want to revisit them. That was when I shared my trip reports. There's an interview with Levi that you can go listen to, and another one coming up with him. And I also recently wrote a full review blog post on Iboga Wellness Center, which I'll link in the show notes. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening and supporting the show. If you want to leave a review of the podcast, I would absolutely love that. It helps so much. If you leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple, please screenshot your rating and either DM it to me on Instagram at Modern Psychedelics, or send me an email of the screenshot, hello@modernpsychedelics.net. And I would love to send you the Modern Psychedelics Integration Journal for free. All right, take care. Sending you lots of love. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to and supporting the show. To stay in touch, sign up for my mailing list, which can be found in the show notes or on modernpsychedelics.net. If this episode sparked something within, please let me know by leaving a review of the Modern Psychedelics podcast on Apple and Spotify. This really helps to share these messages with those who need them, which is the whole reason why I do what I do. And if you haven't already, come join the ongoing conversation over on Instagram with other beautiful souls. We have an incredible and conscious community over at the handle Modern Psychedelics. And don't forget that the work begins after you come back down to earth. And I'm standing shoulder to shoulder, doing it with you.